welcome to
Gank That Drank,
a supernatural drinking game podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 5, Croatoan and Hunted.
And in every episode of Gank That Drank, we're going to assign ourselves just a litany of drinking game rules here in Season 2. We just keep adding to a list that is cumulative as the season goes on in our quest to curate the perfect Season 2 drinking game. Season 2 of what show, you might ask? Oh.
What show?
Well, if you weren't aware, this is a drinking game based on the most just fabulous, most rugged,
so rugged.
And sometimes emotionally vulnerable, as I get a notification on my phone, the show Supernatural.
Yes. So after we watch the episodes and play along, we're going to chat about both episodes while tipsier than we are now. Mm-hmm. And we're going to evaluate both the episodes and the rules we played in our quest to curate for you the perfect Supernatural Season 2 drinking game. We're about halfway through Season 2 right now. Tonight we're watching Episode 9, Croatoan. This is a Robert Singer episode, aired December 7th, 2006. We're still hanging out in the threes, 3.12 million viewers.
Just can't get out of it. Low threes.
Low threes.
And Episode 10, Hunted, which is directed by Rachel Talalay. I don't know how to pronounce it. Talalay. And came out on January 11th, 2007 to a 3.24 audience. So we came back from Christmas, from the winter break, to a little bump in audience.
Of course, as you know, we are going to be spoiling this episodes that came out in 2006 and 2007. Mm-hmm. So get over it. And
also, let's see, what else can we spoil for them?
If that happened in 2007. Barack Obama becomes president.
Oh, yeah. And then doesn't. Again, he becomes it again, but then it just gets dark, and we went to a bad place. Let's leave the flashbacks.
Let's do 2008 was great.
Yeah,
it was great.
It was awesome.
Nothing else happens.
Nope.
All right, so what are we drinking? We're keeping it simple tonight. We're having some Pitchfork Pale Ale
from Four Peaks here in Tempe.
Local, delicious, very nice, very simple. And the rules that we're playing,
which we definitely remembered to select before we hit record.
Well, we each need to pick a new one for this episode, but we are also playing all the ones that we have added cumulatively throughout, starting with Episode 1, Wi-Fi.
Anytime you question why Sammy or anyone has Wi-Fi in 2006, take a drink.
Rock salt.
Anytime the boys use rock salt, take a drink. Take 2 drinks if it does not work.
Concussion.
Oh, anytime the boys just clearly have a traumatic head injury, take a drink.
Slam. Oh, and it's 2 drinks for concussion.
It's 2 drinks for concussion? Excellent.
Of course it is. Traumatic brain injury.
Yeah. Slam. Anytime there's a slam, take a drink of any kind.
Mm-hmm. A sip.
A sip.
Toxic masculinity.
If you feel, or if there's definitely some toxic masculinity, take a drink.
Cuts.
Oh, if we bloody palms. These is bloody palms, or just anything to summon demons that people should have scars for.
Take 2 drinks.
Take 2 drinks.
Someone dies.
Yeah, take a drink if they die. Take 2 drinks if you can't remember their name.
Headache.
Oh, that's right, because in Season 2, Sabre gets a headache and visions. And is that like a finish your drink? Or is
nope,
that
it's just a take a drink.
Okay, take a drink.
We can modify it, but for now, it's take a drink. And jump scare.
Anytime there's an awesome jump scare. Mirrors. Pans, anything cool like that, take a drink.
Okay, so I'm going to add a rule from here on out, which is copy a plot. So if you are like, oh, this is just like that episode of Buffy, just like that episode of X-Files, this is just like another episode that I can identify and describe to you in detail that is like this episode of Supernatural, take a drink.
And I am going to select... I'm going to go with it. Since we got the toxic masculinity, I'm going with positive masculinity.
So anytime they make good choices or they're being secure in their masculinity and making good choices.
Correct.
Take a drink.
Take a drink.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go watch Croatoan and Hunted, and we will see you on the other side. So Croatoan is one of those episodes that even though I don't like it, I've seen it more than several times. I've seen it a bunch. It just is one that keeps popping up. It's either always on the TV when I'm at the gym, or it's just one that I've seen over and over and over and over. It's a weird departure episode, I feel like, for Supernatural. But basically, it's one that starts in the middle, which I love.
Oh, yeah.
And we see visions with some really specific geographical information that's going to really help Sam to get his whatever device he's using to get the GPS to tell him exactly where to go.
It was like a trio.
Mm-hmm. It's really nice. So they go to this town, and they see on a lamppost the word Croatoan. And they're like, oh, everyone knows Croatoan. Oh, yeah, of course, everybody knows Croatoan. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what the Croatoan thing is for anybody who might not be that acquainted with this season of Supernatural and never has seen American Horror Story and just has never listened to lore and just doesn't know?
So Croatoan supposedly is the story of the very first, one of the original settlements, Roanoke
colony,
which is
settlement?
on the colony is like on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, so it's kind of like in the little island chains way out there. Mm-hmm. And I guess it was like the 1500s or whatever, early 1600s.
It was in the days where there weren't anybody checking up on you.
Right. And basically, people came to the island, and there would have been a settlement, and nobody was left. Be like,
Everyone was gone.
Everyone was gone, and there was a single word written on a tree, and that word was Croatoan. So,
which has no meaning.
No, and I guess in listening to lore with Aaron Mankey, I guess the explanation, or one of the explanations, is possibly that was a translation for like what they called one of the tribes, one of the Native American tribes that was in the area. Was that and it was like a deviation of that, but that's like a guess, obviously. So, I mean, I don't think anyone really knows. But you can go see, I think the tree, or like there's something that's still standing from, like you can go, or maybe just visit the town or something like that. Because I don't know if the actual tree is still standing, but I thought maybe there was. I did. Unlike usual, I did not actually sit and do a bunch of research on Croatoan during this episode. I actually kind of watched it. So,
but so like Sammy has the vision, and then it takes them to this town where they do find the first place they go look. People are acting suspicious. They find two questionable demon-like characters dripping blood into the wound of their mother. They take everybody to a hospital. For some reason, Dean and Sam split up. Dean discovers a roadblock that is stopping people from getting out of town in a car full of bloody mess. And essentially what they learn is that there is a blood-borne, demonic, sulfuric blood-to-blood disease that is being passed from person to person. And basically, you don't know if someone's infected, but if they are infected, they will try and get you, bleed into you, and give you the virus, which also makes you just want to bleed into other people. But at some point, and there's all this, back and forth of Dean is so ready to kill people.
Always.
They're like, this person is infected with the thing. A thing, you say?
Yeah. Dean would be like, they have the flu. Let's get him. Get him out.
Shoot them in the face. Now. He has no qualms about shooting a mother in the face. Yeah. If it needs to be done, he will do it. He is just on top of it, unless and until Sammy gets cut up and bled into. And yet there's all this stuff. Like they meet this guy who's a military guy, and they're like, "Oh, military guy, we're friends." And then that guy ends up at the hospital with them, and then he's like, "Oh, let's let this guy from your vision in." Yeah, let's just let someone in.
The guy that you're supposed to kill, I guess, according to the
vision. Who doesn't have the virus, but is possessed by a demon.
Absolutely.
Oi and vey. Anyway, Sammy gets infected. It's like, let's shoot this person. Let's not shoot that person. This is something they go to from time to time on the Supernaturals. Demon germ warfare is what they determine it is.
Which I love that the mark of a demon virus is it's covered. The cells are just covered in sulfur. Which the doctor was my favorite part. The doctor's like, it's so weird. These cells, they're covered in it's sulfur,
Because I've looked at sulfur in blood before.
How do you... And
even I'm also a chemist in addition to...
Don't you have to... It's not an eyeball thing. I think it's something you, like, run tests for. Correct? Am I...
Pretty sure, but she's also, like...
But she did say it would take 3 hours to see if they had the virus, because that was that kind of adds to the drama to this episode is, we're not going to know for 3 hours whether they're actually infected or not after we do the test.
Yeah. And so they make it past 4 hours, then they're fine.
Yeah, it's like
but
a Viagra.
There's also, like... What? There's also sort of a demon hive mind, which... like, I have a few science friends who like to talk about science stuff that they see in shows, and they're just like, that's not a thing. And one of them is hive mind. So even if these infected people all have the same sulfuric disease, that would not afford them the ability to communicate beyond needing to be like, hey, you infected? I'm infected. Are you infected? Right. I'm infected.
They have They have like a special membership card that you can get, like an infected.
Even then, it's like the coins from Harry Potter. You still need something to. There's no such thing as hive mind. Okay, so there's a little bit of a back and forth, which we should talk about between Sammy and Dean. When Sammy has been infected, we know he's been infected. He's probably going to get the thing, and Sammy's like, "There's man tears, literal man tears." He's like, you need to kill me. We know I'm infected. Let's not even fuss about it. And Dean's like, no, everyone else needs to go. If we're going down in a blaze of glory together. # pals.
# pals. Pals forever.
I'm
Young Guns 2.
Young Guns 1. You've never seen Young Guns 2.
Young Guns 3, the return of...
Young Guns 3, Christian Slater rides again.
And it is, like, I love when Sammy just gets all, like... depressed about stuff. He's just like, I'm tired, I'm done, I quit.
Well, that's Sammy's go-to. Sammy's go-to is like, I need to die. Just please let me die for a noble cause where it's not my responsibility, where I'm dying for someone else.
Right.
And it's not about me. And then Dean's always like, no, I see your noble sacrifice and raise you an additional.
I reject it.
I reject it.
I reject your sacrifice.
I reject it insofar as I want to pile on. I want to be included.
And I think that's throughout the whole series, the thing with Dean is that he always feels like Sammy, because Sammy's the one who was the baby when mom died. Sammy's the one who, like, has this
extra
extra stuff. But
so
even
that
later,
touches upon something I'd love to talk about. Please continue.
Yeah.
Finish your point.
But even like later on, when Sammy is supposed to. Oh my gosh, my mind is slowly going nuts. Anyway, because there's so many seasons, so much content in Supernatural.
That's a question.
But it's like Sammy's always seems to be the chosen one, and Dean always seems to be the one that's like, and I'm here too.
Hi, I'm also Dean,
and I'm gonna prevent him from like reaching his destiny or like doing it, because it always involves him dying, which is interesting because I'm gonna bleed into the second episode because we kind of have the cliffhanger at the end of Croatoan and into Hunter, where we hear finally what Dad said to Dean on his deathbed, which is, you might have to kill Sam, which to me is still, all these years later, like a central point probably of the show, is that if it's going to end, Dean's going to have to kill Sam. Season 27 of Supernatural will end with it, but I think that's what they were setting up. And honestly, looking at the ratings, you kind of wonder, when they put that line in there at the beginning, when they're like, oh, this is what John said.
But here's my spoiler-free flash forward to season 14, which we are on the cusp of. By the time this episode comes out, we might actually be there. But the thing that is the big MacGuffin at the beginning of season 14, which was the big reveal at the end of season 13, that came about because Jensen Ackles was like, look, Jared Padalecki has gotten to be this version of Sam, a possessed version of Sam, a drug-addled version of Sam, a version of Sam that also had this angel inside of him, a version of Sam that was this. And Dean has always just been Dean. He's been consistent. He's been one way. He's Demon Dean for... that is a spoiler. I'm sorry. That's a season 9 spoiler.
Demon Dean.
Season 9, I think. Maybe 10.
I'm currently in the middle of season. I must be 10.
Spoilers, people. These are legit spoilers. Some things that are only maybe 3-4 years old. But Jensen was like, sort of like, hey, I want to do some shit too. I want to be the guy who sometimes gets to be the weirdo. In this, but it's also interesting how quickly the tables turn. Like, Dean is ready to shoot a mother in the face with little to no evidence that she has gone dark side. But as soon as Sammy is on the chopping block, he's like, nope, fuck everybody.
Pump the brakes on this, people.
Nothing. And I mean, that's love. I really feel like it is.
But he should show a little more compassion for people that aren't his brother.
I think you have to. This is a must-watch episode just because the Croatoan stuff, like, it comes back hard. They're not sure what to do. I really feel like at this point, the writers and the producers they're not sure what to do, and so they're dabbling. Mm-hmm. They're trying things out. They're trying things on. And I feel like you need to watch this because they're going to try again. Mm-hmm. They're going to really try hard to hit this Croatoan thing. And so you need to watch this, but also I feel like you need to watch this episode just because it really is a very definitive peek into Dean as the character who will shoot first and ask questions later until it comes to anything to do with Sam. Right. And Sam is the person who will sacrifice himself, leaping at the chance to sacrifice himself. Anyway, there are man tears. Everybody vanishes, and they're like, what's happening? Turns out Sam can't be infected because he is a child of the yellow-eyed demon. And then they have this moment at the very end of the episode where they're standing in a Thomas Kincaid painting.
Which we both at the same time.
So the same thing. And it's a beautiful outside of the car fifis.
Yeah.
Like, the car's parked.
Gotta have some fifis.
We're near the car, but we're outside of the car. We're drinking beer from a dark bottle.
By a fence. Like cowboys would do.
It's very nice.
Like drifters.
And they have a moment which this episode decides to end on a cliffhanger. Oh, but before that, Dean is like, let's go to the Grand Canyon and let's go fuck Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, very crudely. Let's go to Hollywood. Maybe we'll bang Lindsay Lohan.
Why do we have to be the people who are always solving the thing? Because you are, Dean. Get over it.
Yeah. And even by 2006, Lindsay Lohan, it's not in a stable spot for you to be going and marching in and demanding things, Dean. So come on now. Get with the times.
But it ends on a cliffhanger of him being like, Dad told me something about you.
And that's like a 3 or 4 week cliffhanger because he had to wait till January.
Yep, you sure did. That was their mid-season.
That was the mid-season cliffhanger. What did Dad say? Which was the cliffhanger at the end of season. Or no, it wasn't. It was just earlier in season. Yeah, it was several episodes ago. Yeah, let me find out in the next episode.
So I think
watch it.
I think it's a must-watch episode, and I think the lesson learned is,
oh man,
just chill out. Just maybe think a minute.
Just chillax, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, probably once you see Croatoan.
So no, here's what I think the lesson is the Croatoan stuff comes back. It bores me. I never liked the Croatoan stuff.
It was weird, blasé, and then they abandoned it so quickly.
But then they bring it back again, and then they abandon it again.
Then they abandon it again,
They just keep trying to, like, smack that pinata.
And then they'll reference it randomly every once in a while. They'll be like, "Are you Croatoan?
Croatoan?
Are you Croatoan?
Croatoan?
Vamp? Croatoan?
Croatoan?
Leviathan? Croatoan?" Yeah. And then I think the other lesson is, check out all the people in the room. Because who ends up being the actual...
demon?
Like, not demon, but infected person in this episode is the nurse. They don't pay any attention to.
She's been infected for a long time.
Right. And so, clear the room.
She probably was spreading the infection from the beginning. She's a nurse.
Right.
She has access. Yeah. Yep, but the kid, even though he's not infected with the virus, is a demon.
Right. Which, I want to talk about that just real quick, that scene with him calling the demon hotline.
We have to assume Azazel, who we don't even know, the yellow-eyed demon.
But the thing he says is like, oh, the blood didn't work on the Winchester boy.
As we expected.
So, like, I love that Azazel's a very scientific demon. He's out
really
here.
is.
He's got a control group. He's got an experiment group.
He's doing clinical trials.
He's doing clinical trials. He's getting feedback. I'm sure he has a hypothesis. Obviously, he had a hypothesis because
he's shooting for FDA approval.
Right. No, I mean he's going through the whole scientific method.
He really is.
We are so quick to cast these demons as the bad guys in the show, and
as Crowley will eventually teach us.
They're the ones who are going through the amazing scientific methods. So that's my lesson learned. Hunted begins with, once again, in the middle of an episode, because that's what season 2 is all about, baby. Starting in the middle of episodes, ending on cliffhangers. And this time, though, it's not a Sam vision. It's a vision of a random person who we don't know, but it is Sam in the vision, and Sam getting blown up. We get a big old Sammy slam. It's an explosion, so it's kind of jarring to start an episode.
It's a kablooey.
Yep, and then after the title card, we get back to the fence, and that's where we hear about the aforementioned. Dad said, "I'm going to have to kill you, Sam." Sam gets upset about this, which every time that one of these guys gets upset about the other one doing something that is kind of like toxically masculine, where it's like,
Dad said I should do this.
Right, Dad said,
don't tell you. Let's all keep secrets.
Correct.
Let's never just be open.
Wouldn't you do this? Like, anytime there's always situations where, like, the answer to whatever question or whatever one of them is upset about is, wouldn't you do the same thing for the other one? Haven't you already done the same thing? And that, to me, is one of the more, like, repetitive tropes that just continues and goes on, is this, like, they're always so, like, offended and like, oh, can't you help me? Why did you do that? Why? No, it
never ends.
And I'm like, that's what you do. You're the only other person that the other one has.
Which is why I just want them. I know that they joke about it, and sometimes they will go see a therapist as like an undercover thing. No,
usually in a mental hospital.
See a family therapist who's going to be like, when you do blank in situation blank, I feel blank. No. And just let's do it.
And they talk about they're I mean, I'd say they're fairly open with each other at times, and so it's just it's strange to me that like that's never a thing of like, can we just stop guilting each other?
No, we can't. Especially not in season 2.
Helping one another out, but even
and for
season 8 and for
wanting Dad's approval.
All right, so back to Hunted. So we get I wrote this down as Giovanni Ribisi-esque dude. Not that he looks like Giovanni Ribisi.
But he looks like garbage.
Yeah, he looks like garbage. But
so does the therapist.
Correct. And the therapist is like one of those actors he's just a character actor that you see, especially in TV shows a lot. But Giovanni, I called him that because the way he says that he's like, oh, I killed things by touching them with lightning. Reminded me of the X-Files episode with Giovanni. So, he's talking about electrocuted.
Did we count that?
I did.
No,
I wouldn't say it's a copy of plot.
Okay. Just a reminder. Also, there was a lot of pop culture references in both of these. Yeah. We're lucky we weren't playing that rule.
Next episode might choose that one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so so the guy claims, a year ago I started having visions, all the same symptoms that Sammy has, except he can electrocute people. We've already met the kid who can move things. So we're finally like really kind of seeing the depth of how many people. I think this is like our 4th or 5th yellow-eyed demon child soldier.
And we've learned that not all of them lost their parents in a fire.
Correct. And I thought this was the one where one of them was adopted or something, but I guess not. And then in comes, because someone is hunting, so Sam and Dean split up. Mm-hmm. They've split up, and Sam goes to the roadhouse where he meets with Ellen and talks with Ellen, where we learn that Joe is off hunting because she got bit by the bug with you boys, and I wish I could blame you, but then we learn that Ellen has forgiven John Winchester, but John Winchester never forgave himself.
But she still doesn't want to approve and support Joe.
Yeah.
She'd rather Joe be out on her own and not have a relationship and not have access to her resources. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
It's toxic femininity. It's toxic masculinity as filtered through a mother-daughter relationship.
Okay, I like that more. I think that's, yeah. So we basically were able to track down that there's only a few people who've had the house fire thing.
Right.
The exact scenario.
Not everybody.
Right, not everybody. So through that, then Sam goes to Lafayette, Indiana, and is trying to warn, I guess,
someone. about something.
But as he's doing that, someone warns him about something.
That he's going to get blowed up.
You're going to get blown up. And there's the woman that we saw who was having at the very beginning, who was having the vision. So now the tables are turned, and we get this really long, drawn-out scene where she's telling her story, and it's like, you probably don't believe me. I'm normal.
I'm a regular girl. I'm
you
engaged.
Don't believe me. And Sam just waits so long. And I love that eventually in the show they'll just get to like, no, we get it. Like, just tell me. Just tell me. But right now he's like, oh yeah, I know all of this. This is exactly what I was expecting you to say.
She does say she Googled that she saw his motel name.
And it was real.
In the vision, so she Googled it. Right. And I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe we need to let this whole Wi-Fi thing go. Maybe everybody's got it.
Google, I don't know. But there'll be points. Maybe there'll be points. Who knows? We're playing lots of rules. Eventually Sterling K. Brown gets into this mix.
Well, before that, Sammy talks her into helping out. They go see the therapist. It's sneaky. She's not very good at it. Yeah. Yes, Gordon is there. Sterling K. Brown is back.
Right. He comes back.
He's killing Sam.
He tries to take a shot at Sam with a little sniper rifle.
Mm-hmm.
Sam manages to miss it. Dean intervenes because Dean got it out of Ellen where Sam was.
Yep.
And knows just that Gordon's on top of this roof.
And we learn that Gordon has been killing possessed people, just killing them. Yeah. He just thinks they should all die.
Not a good guy.
He is the toxic masculinity that is in this season because he's like, always shoot first and ask questions later. Kill baby Hitler. Anybody who's a little bit tainted needs to die. Let's not ask questions. Sammy's not evil yet, but he's gonna be.
Yeah, his solution to Hitler was kill him, not like encourage the art. And so
he's completely willing to. Okay, so finish up. How did that?
Oh,
no, I'm not. I didn't mean to say finish up in a hurry. I was just saying.
Right.
I will stop interrupting you.
You're fine.
No, it sounded so bad.
No, I didn't think it sounded bad.
It did.
It did not sound bad.
I was being Sterling K. Brown.
Funky Town. We get the old secret phrase, safe word, which is Funky Town. Oh, Lafayette, real funky town.
So obvious.
And Sterling K. Brown even says like, I know you tipped him off. Like, I'm not dumb.
I've got two
tripwires. Well, I already set one up. I got to set this other one up while we wait, since we're sitting here and I have so much time. And it sets up the two. Of course, our boy Sam is not fooled because he had a little psychic help on his side. And gets in. We have just our usual talking with Gordon about who to kill and who not to kill, but he turns in a good performance. He always turns. I think he does a good job.
He's a good actor. I like him very much.
Yeah, I'm aware. So he gets away. Sterling K. Brown gets away.
Kind of ish. Sammy's like, we don't have to go back and kill him. Yeah, trust me. And then Dean is like, shooting okay, him. I will, but what? And then he just comes out. He's not even shooting at them. He's just randomly firing a gun into the woods.
Mm-hmm. Like you do.
Poo poo, poo poo poo, poo 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 poo. It's like when my 8-year-old son is playing guns. He's just shooting. Randomly. He does not care.
The boys don't serpentine at all.
Nope.
They just run. So, but we do find out because we go back to
Sammy has called the cops.
Yeah, he called the cops on him.
And they're just like huddling in a ditch. That was such a bad plan.
Yeah.
What is the lesson from Hunted?
It's definitely a skippable episode.
So skippable.
It's skippable, but
no, because we don't need Gordon.
No,
Gordon adds nothing.
Okay, watch the first 2 minutes of this episode.
No, and then, forget the whole thing.
You gotta hear the thing about.
Oh right,
Sam.
What? But I feel like they're gonna recap it in the next one.
I'm sure it's gonna be
the road so far.
It'll be in a road so far. Probably several roads so far. At some point.
All right.
I guess skip it. You can skip it. And I don't have a lesson learned for this episode.
The lesson learned is skip it. And we're not having the most baller time yet on season 2. Season 2 is not our favorite.
Not yet, but we learned, as we kind of talked about, that season 2 will pick up.
We saw H.H. Holmes. We don't know. Okay, so here's how our rules played out. Concussion 3 times. Not all Sam and Dean. At least one Sterling K. Brown. Slam 3 times. Toxic masculinity We counted 5 times, all of them Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
One of them
was
Dean.
Yeah.
Shoot first, ask questions later. Cuts 3 times, all demon, bloodborne, illness related. Someone dies 5 times. Headache once, surprisingly. The other headaches were not Sammy's.
Yeah, they were not Sammy's.
Jump scare once. Positive masculinity once.
Hooray.
No copy of plots.
Correct.
No.
Unless you count just the Croatoan
No
legend
Wi-Fi.
as a copy of a plot.
Yeah, we didn't know.
No, I wouldn't. There's some very confusing stuff.
I don't know. A lot of the demon stuff is not...
Only 3.2 million people could get upset about it.
It's
so they
not real firm at this point.
They didn't care about plot holes. They're like, we don't have that many people watching right now.
Let's not worry about
Twitter
it.
didn't exist, so they weren't going to get a bunch of heat on Twitter yet. Oh, man, how media has changed. How just entertainment has changed.
Well, it has changed, and yet Supernatural is here for us.
Yeah.
Okay, so please be sure to join us next time on episode 6, where we're going to watch Playthings and Night Shifter. Exciting.
Yeah.
Do you have a suggestion for Gank That Drank Season 2 drinking rules?
Send it to us.
Do you have a suggested cocktail, a suggested drink?
Send us cocktails.
Just send us the name of a cocktail and we'll try and create a cocktail.
Yeah. Do you got a suggested bit you want us to do?
Did you play along and you want to let us know, hey, you missed this, this, and this, or you counted this and we didn't do it?
I have a feeling we've missed like several things in both these episodes tonight.
So many things.
Just sometimes I feel like we're really on it and we're like, yeah, we got all of them. And sometimes I think tonight's just one of those nights where we're like, some of
the times we're looking at them and we're like, oh shit, was that a slam? Was that a slam?
Someone died again. Someone died a lot in these ones though.
They did.
We had a lot of people die.
Did we say someone died 5 times?
Yeah.
As always, you can find out about Most Excellent Pod at mostexcellentpod.com. New pods coming soon from Mr. Reporter. Excitement. Stay tuned. And if you're in the Phoenix area, you can always find Nate and Krissy at the National Comedy Theater, which is nctphoenix.com, and for National C for Comedy, T for Theater in Phoenix, all spelled out.com. Just, get out there in the world, save people, hunt things. For God's sake, be excellent to each other and...
Party on, dudes!
At the Most Excellent Party on Dudes pod!